The Springboks are taking on England this weekend, the 4th of July in Johannesburg, and it looks like it's going to be a cracking matchup. We have the squads, so I'm going to be looking at the Springbok squad. But unlike what I would normally do, I'm not just going to simply read the names. I'm going to speak about how the Springboks are going to want to play with these packs. So I'll put the squad up right next to me, and you can see the names for yourself. So firstly, I want to speak about the forward pack. The name that jumps out at me immediately, who I think will play a vital role, is Ruan Nokia. I think that he will obviously be manning the lineouts like he normally does. I think this is a particularly important part of our game plan this weekend. So we're going to front up physically in the scrums like we always do. We have an insane forward front row. And obviously we're going to try and dominate and gain advantage in the scrums. But I think particularly in the line-out, this is where we want to maybe improve from the past. So I think that Ruan Nokia will play a massive role in a maul situation, in calling the line-out and getting the set-piece dominance that we desire from that. Next, the name that steps out at me is Jasper Wiese, the number 8, and he is, I think, by far the best number 8 that we have. He has really come into that role. I used to think that he was a little bit stupid at times. Very good player, but just making silly, hot-headed decisions. And I think he's matured quite a lot. Since his red card against Italy, I think he's calmed down in a mature way, not necessarily calming down in his physical front. So he's still that physical beast that we know and love. And I think he's slightly more matured. So he's just really coming into his own as our number 8. And obviously, Peter Steph-Toy is just going to be Peter Steph-Toy. He's going to be making big hits. He's going to be making hitting rucks. He's going to be just running around the park like the workhorse that he is, and the best player in the world that he is anyway. Down the front row, I think, needs no introduction or speak about them, to be honest. I could speak about them for the entire video. Oxenchair, Malcolm Marx, Thomas Satoy. I think this is our strongest starting front row. Malcolm Marx is easily the best hooker that we have in the country right now. So I expect them to be making mincemeat out of England. Moving on to the back line, the first name that pops out is Moni Lebok as the fly half. Now, he's been playing his rugby in Japan, and he's looking incredible there. And it's a very fast-paced, open style of rugby, which suits him really, really well. Rassie Erasmus did say that he expects England to try and open up the game, maybe with Henry Pollock and guys like him to try and open up the game, which would just suit Moni Lebok's style super well. And I think that he's the perfect fly half for the job. And interestingly, he's the only fly half that we have in the team, the only out-and-out fly half. Of course, Damian Willemse can slot into that role. Cheslin Colby can kick. And yeah, I think that those would probably be the best two options if we need to replace him. And hopefully we won't need to replace him at all. Then we move on. I think Damian Willemse will also play a particularly important role in this matchup. We've had Moni Lebok and Damian Willemse as the 10-15 combo in many scenarios for the Springboks, as well for the Stormers in the past. So I think this is a well-tried and tested kind of combination. And obviously Grant Williams being the scrum half for Moni Lebok is that tried and tested combination. So I expect really fast running rugby from the Boks with an insanely physical grinding into dust, especially in the first half. I think we'll probably be slightly slower, just choke them like a snake, like a boa constrictor, just choke the life out of them in the first half especially, and then when the second half comes, we will be running in tries and England won't know what hit them. So moving on to the bench, it is a kind of 5.5, 2.5, I suppose, because Andre Esterhuizen is named as a number 22, but he can obviously fall into that hybrid role, which I think we all kind of expected. The front row replacements all are standard, and I think they're very good choices. Jan-Hendrik Wessels returning to the Boks, which is wonderful to see. Marco van Staden, Cameron Hannekom as well, which is great. I think Cameron Hannekom deserves to get, after all these years, he deserves to show a bit of shine in that Springbok jersey. And I think bringing him on in the second half when it's a bit looser, he can just bash some bodies over, maybe use him in the wide channels. I think it will be a really, really good addition for the way that we want to play in this game. Kobus Reinach as the replacement scrum half. Again, he's solid, he's dependable, but unlike a lot of other times, he doesn't have a fly half of Sasha accompanying him. So instead we have obviously Andre Esthuizen and Caden Moody. Caden Moody acting as the utility back. He can slot in at wing or centre, and Codley Aronsa could maybe move to fullback. Ches and Colby could maybe move to fullback if something were to happen. So all in all, I think we have a good mix of the power that we want, but also fast running rugby. I think Tony Ball will come into play this weekend, and all in all, I expect us to put on a beautiful display of rugby. I don't think it'll be that easy to beat England, but I do think that we will convincingly beat England. And I will give my official prediction in a later video, but this is just how I think the Springboks are going to play. Let me know if you think that I've gotten this completely wrong, if they're going to play a more subtle kind of rugby, a more test match style where we just kick and we keep it conservative, or if I'm just completely wrong and we're just going to run it in from the get-go and start really quickly. And yeah, I just hope that you can find some value from this video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm trying to build this channel to about 200 subscribers by the end of the year, and I would really appreciate if you would do that for me. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your days. Peace.